Okay, we'll start on part three, where we left off when we so rudely got interrupted by this stupid dog of mine. Alright, what are the frequency limits of the VHF spectrum? This runs from 30 to 300 megahertz. What are the frequency limits of the UHF spectrum? 300 megahertz to 3000 megahertz, or what we'll call 3 gigahertz. The frequency range referred to as HF, 3 to 30 megahertz. What is the approximate velocity of a radio wave as it travels through free space? 300 million meters per second. Why are direct, and not Peter, but direct UHF signals rarely heard from stations outside your local coverage area? UHF signals are usually not reflected by the ionosphere, so they go straight on out into space. They're not bounced back by the ionosphere, where others, VHF and HF, tend to be. Which of the following is an advantage of HF versus VHF in higher frequencies? Long distance ionospheric propagation is far more common on HF. What is a characteristic of VHF signals received via auroral reflection? And the signals exhibit rapid fluctuations of strength and often sound distorted. Yes, we actually work a mode called Aurora, where we bounce our signals off either the northern or southern lights, the Aurora Borealis. Which of the following propagation types is most commonly associated with occasional strong over-the-horizon signals on the 10, 6, and 2 meter bands? That's sporadic E, or what we'll often call E-skip. E-skip, by the way, can have some very strong signals and it can fluctuate very fast, very fast. Which of the following effects might cause radio signals to be heard despite obstructions between transmitting and receiving stations? I don't remember this one, but it calls it knife edge diffraction. I don't remember that one. What mode is responsible for allowing over-the-horizon VHF and UHF communications to ranges of approximately 300 miles on a regular basis? That's tropospheric ducting. What band is best suited for communicating via meteor scatter? And that's 6 meters. Yes, we bounce our signals off of meteors going through space too. We truly do. What causes tropospheric ducting? Temperature inversions in the atmosphere. Weather fronts can really mess with radio propagation. It can cause some strange stuff. I've seen this as low as 10 meters. What is generally the best time for long distance 10 meter band propagation via the F layer? From dawn to shortly after sunset during peak periods of high sunspot activity. We're at the bottom of the sunspot activity right now, just starting to go up. It's getting there. Give it a couple of years. I don't think it'll take that long. Give it 6 months to a year, it'll start picking up. 2 to 3 years, it should be on fire. Which of the following bands may provide long-distance communications during the peak of the sunspot cycle? 6 or 10 meters. Both bands do really good, especially 10. Why do VHF and UHF radio signals usually travel somewhat farther than the visual line of sight distance between two stations? The Earth seems less curved to radio waves than to light. This is another one I don't remember, but I'll take it. What must be considered to determine the minimum current capacity needed for a transceiver power supply? A. Efficiency of the transmitter at full power output. B. Receiver and control circuit power. C. Power supply regulation and heat dissipation. The answer there is all of the above. How might a computer be used as part of an amateur radio station? A. For logging contacts and contact information. For sending and or receiving CW. For generating and decoding digital signals, or all of the above. All of the above there is correct. Why should wiring between the power source and the radio be heavy gauge wire and kept as short as possible? And this is to avoid voltage falling between the needed, needed for proper operation. And you want to generally keep it as short as possible. Of course, that was already in the question, wasn't it? Which computer sound card port is connected to the radio's headphone or speaker output for operating digital modes? And that's the microphone or the line input. What is the proper location for an external SWR meter in series with the feed line between the transmitter and the antenna? Which of the following connections might be used between a voice transceiver and a computer for digital operation? Receive audio, transmit audio, and the push to talk. How is a computer sound card used when conducting digital communication? The sound card provides audio to the radio's microphone input and converts received audio to digital form. A lot of the newer rigs will have this stuff built in. Most of the old rigs won't. Which of the following conductors provides the lowest impedance to RF signals? That is a flat strap. Which of the following could you use to cure distorted audio caused by RF current in the shield of a microphone cable? That's a ferrite choke. I've used these, but not on my own station, but I was getting into a neighbor's telephone, and I used these to knock off the interference. What is the source of a high-pitched whine that varies with engine speed in a mobile transceiver's received audio? That's generally the alternator. Parenthetically, and this will not get you the right answer on the test, there have been times I've heard it is the fuel pump, but as a general rule, and I've also heard the spark plugs, but as a general rule, this is the alternator. All right, where should the negative return connection of a mobile transceiver's power cable be connected? And that's at the battery or the engine block ground strap. Alright, what may happen if a transmitter is operated with the microphone gain set too high? You're going to get distorted. You're going to sound nasty. Which of the following can be used to enter the operating frequency on a modern transceiver? That's the keypad or the VFO knob. Although on our Baofengs we don't have a VFO knob, do we? It's all keypad entry. What is the purpose of the squelch control on a transceiver to mute receiver output noise when no signal is being received? This is predominant on FM radios, such as our Baofeng. You turn that squelch wide open and is what you're going to hear. So you've got to roll that squelch back to mute that. Best way to enable quick access of your favorite frequencies, of course, stored in memory. Here's one I don't remember seeing. Which of the following would reduce ignition interference to a receiver. Turning on the noise blinker. Duh, I misread that one. Okay, bear with me here. Which of the following controls could be used if the voice pitch of a single sideband signal seemed too high or too low? That's the receiver, RIT, or clarifier. That is a knob independent of the VFO on a rig that will alter the receive frequency without adjusting the transmit frequency. And what does RIT mean? Receiver incremental tuning. What is the advantage of having multiple receive bandwidth choices on a multi-mode transceiver? Permits noise or interference reduction by selecting a bandwidth matching the mode. You'll hear this talk about filtering. CW filtering, CW filters being in 250, 500 hertz, sideband being in 2.4, etc. Or you'll hear us talk about a narrow CW filter, wide CW filter, sideband filter, etc. That's what we're talking about to help get rid of some of the noise on the band, noise and interference. Let's see, we just dealt with this one, the appropriate receive filter bandwidth for single sideband, 2400 hertz or 2.4 kilohertz. We just went over that one. For CW 500 hertz, we just talked about that one. What is the function of the automatic gain control, or AGC? To keep received audio relatively constant, so that the amplitude of the volume, as the signal goes up and down, it stays about the same. Which of the following could be used to remove power line noise or ignition noise? This is again the noise blinker. Which of the following is a use for scanning function of an FM transceiver? To scan through a range of frequencies to check for activity. Just seeing if, listening around, see if anybody's around. Let's see if we want to go through this next one here. Electrical current is measured in what unit is the ampere or amps for electrical current. Electrical power is measured in watts. Name for the flow of electrons in the electric circuit, that's current. Think of it as the volume of current going through a particular circuit. Think of it as volume, just like the amount of water going through a water pipe. What's the name for current that only flows in one direction? That's direct current. What is the electrical term for the electromotive force, or EMF, that causes electron flow? That is voltage. How much voltage does a mobile transceiver typically require? That's normally 12 volts. I've seen some with higher. You especially start looking at some of the older tube equipment, and that can vary greatly, but it's typically 12. Which of the following is a good electrical conductor? Glass, wood, copper, or rubber? Copper. There is your best choice. Which of the following is a good insulator? Copper, glass, aluminum, or mercury? Glass is your best one there. What is the name for a current that reverses direction on a regular basis? That is alternating current. What is the term? What term describes the rate at which electrical energy is used? That is power. What is the unit of electromagnetic force? That is the volt. Think of that as electrical pressure. Just like your heart is a pump, for blood. The amount of force it uses to pump blood through your your body, the pressure, that's sort of the same deal there, the bolt. What describes the number of times per second that alternating current makes a complete cycle? That is frequency. In which type of circuit is current the same through all components? That is series. And the last question, and I think I'll wrap this for now, and then we'll pick up again next time. In which type of circuit is voltage the same across all components? And that is parallel, a parallel circuit. All right, from there, y'all, I will end part 3. We will start part 4 next time. With that, talk to y'all later. Jimbo out.